I spent over 1,000 hours studying Bitcoin. And this is what I found out. When people hear Bitcoin, there are always mixed feelings. Some people think it's a scam.
Bitcoin is going to zero.
Some people think it's a cult.
You fail to understand that it's a new technology that is as profound as the printing press or the electric light bulb. You're comparing it to things that you shouldn't be comparing it to.
And some people think it's too late. But in the last 5 years, something weird has happened. The people who actually studied stopped laughing and they started looking into it. And the people who still hate it often share one thing in common: they never studied properly. I recently met a friend that I shared childcare, elementary school and middle school with, and now he's working as a computer scientist remotely, and he has a very good job. So when we met outside, I asked him one simple question: when did you find out about Bitcoin? Because I assumed he would have been filthy rich. But his answer disappointed me, because when I asked him what he thought about Bitcoin, he told me the same exact things that you hear from the news, from your politicians, or from any seasoned investors out there. Bitcoin is for drug dealers, for criminals, and it's a tool for making rich people even richer. Then I asked him if he ever studied it, and he said no. So if somebody that is studying computer science doesn't have the curiosity to look into it, I do not blame you if you spend all these years not looking properly into it. And this is what this video is about. So here's my challenge for you. Stop listening to experts, the economists, the CEOs, the traders, the politicians, even influencers. Stop listening to them and start studying it. Study it for 10 hours, then continue to 100, and then go even further to 1000. But if you do not have the time or the discipline to start doing that, this video is to jumpstart you into that direction. And right now we are in a transitory phase of our history where the water has been simmering for a while, and people just started noticing that the water temperature is not as comfortable as it was before. And that's why the saying exists: you buy Bitcoin at the price you deserve, not at the price you want. Imagine for a moment it's 1879 and you hear Edison selling a tiny fraction of his new invention, the light bulb, and he's selling it to anyone who wants it. But you do not trust electricity, so you ignore it. Then 10 years later, electricity is everywhere, and now you are paying 1 million times more for something that you could have owned early. You can apply the same pattern to the printing press, soap, engines, ATMs, and the internet. And if you don't think Bitcoin belongs to that category, fine, but it usually just means one thing: that you did not study it enough. So let me catch you up on what either most people ignore or never even hear. Because if you understand where Bitcoin comes from, what problem it solves, and why it keeps surviving, you stop being emotionally manipulated by headlines. Let's begin. When people say Bitcoin started in 2009, they're right, but it didn't start there. That's the moment it was published. Bitcoin's real origin story starts with the world shifting to full fiat money. In 1971, the US severed the last link between gold and the US dollar. The decision didn't break the world instantly, but it created the conditions for what happened next. Over the following decades, a certain type of programmer started asking a dangerous question. If money is going digital, who gets to control it? And what happens when they can print it forever? Because we have 5,000 years and more of proofs that when somebody gets authority over somebody else, 100% of the times the authority is abused. The mindset eventually became a movement. In the late 80s and 90s, a group of privacy-focused cryptographers and programmers came together to form what became known as the CypherPunks. Their mission wasn't crypto price go up, it was way simpler than that. Build tools that protect humans from unchecked power. How cool is that? I think this is every child's dream, like a superhero with a computer. They work on encryption, digital privacy, and eventually digital money. And here's the key point: almost every cyberpunk built a piece of the puzzle that led to Bitcoin. Each invention moved the needle closer to the end goal, but the attempts at decentralized money kept failing. Early digital money failed because digital currency has two nightmare problems. The first one is double spending. Digital files can be copied, and if you are raised like me by Emule and BitTorrent, you understand how easy it is to share the exact copy of something sitting in your computer with anybody else in the world. So without a central authority, who stops me from sending the same digital coin to two different people? With banks, the banks prevents that. But the whole point was there is no bank. The second one is the Byzantine generals problem. This is the how do we coordinate in a hostile world problem. If you have a network of participants and some are liars, some are broken, and some are attackers, how do honest people still agree on reality? How do we agree on one true ledger? That's why many early systems were either killed or captured. Some had a company and a CEO behind them, so government could just pressure the person. Others had weaknesses that made them impossible to run as a peer-to-peer money. You have David Chaum, which created early digital cash system, Nick Szabo, which described big gold, Hal Finney built early proof-of-work reuse concepts, and Adam Beck, which created Hashcash, which made proof-of-work real and usable. They were all building blocks. And then, on the 31st of October 2008, a person going by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto drops a PDF on the cryptography mailing list. And that's how it starts. The PDF is the Bitcoin white paper. And it's not magic, it's not a random invention out of nowhere. It's a very specific thing. Satoshi collected decades of CypherPunks work and finally solved the last missing piece, the centralized consensus that prevents double spending. Bitcoin wasn't a brand launch, it was engineering breakthrough. And the 3rd of January 2009, the network starts. In the very first block, the Genesis block, Satoshi embeds a message, Chancellor on the second brink of bailout for banks. So no, Bitcoin wasn't made to get rich. It was made because people watched the financial system almost collapse in 2008 and realized the rules were rigged. To confirm this point, between 2009 and 2011, a 21-year-old Finnish programmer going by the name of Martti Malmi was mailing back and forth with Satoshi himself. Malmi has described finding Bitcoin almost by accident. One day he was searching for decentralized digital money and he found the mailing list. And the rabbit hole led him directly into Bitcoin early circles, including the mailing list where Satoshi and the early contributors were discussing the project. From that point on, Malmi started helping Satoshi and the early community, also contributing to build the early community website bitcointalk.org, the first major Bitcoin forum. Malmi also mined a massive amount of Bitcoin early on. He said around 55,000, and he sold way too early, around the time that Bitcoin peaked at $30 each in 2011. Those emails that Malmi and Satoshi sent back and forth became public in 2024 because Malmi submitted them as evidence, as a witness in the UK High Court in the case Copa versus Craig Wright, because Craig Wright claimed to be Satoshi to have access to Satoshi wallet, where Wright's claim to be Satoshi was rejected. If you want to read a real piece of Bitcoin history, I put the link in the description. Really, this stuff is fascinating. Bitcoin is 3 things at the same time: open source software, code anybody can audit, a protocol like the rules of the internet, and a network, thousands of independent computers enforcing those rules. And the engine behind it is proof of work. This is where Adam Beck matters. Hashcash proved that he can use computation energy as a kind of a cost wall. Bitcoin takes the concept and turns it into the security model for global money. If you want to attack Bitcoin, you don't just hack code. You have to outspend the network's real-world energy. That's why the network has survived non-stop since 2009. Bitcoin runs in blocks, roughly every 10 minutes. Miners compete to add the next block, and when a miner wins, they earn a reward. New Bitcoin, the block subsidy, plus transaction fees. The system is designed so the block rewards halves roughly every 210,000 blocks, around 4 years. In 2009, the reward was 50 Bitcoin per block. 2012, 25. 2016, 12.5. 2020, 6.25. 2024, 3.125. And the difficulty adjusts automatically every 2016 blocks, around 2 weeks. So blocks stay near 10 minutes. HashRate is just how much computing power miners are contributing. More HashRate generally means more cost to attack. This is the most important line most people never learn. Bitcoin changes through consensus, not command. There is no CEO, no head office, no authority that can declare a change. Bitcoin upgrades only happen when enough of the network agrees to enforce new rules. That's why Bitcoin is slow to change, because money should not update like an app. Changes get proposed by something called a BIP, a Bitcoin Improvement Proposal. A BIP is not a decree, it's a suggestion written down and debated publicly. And if people don't run it, it dies. This is why forks happen. When groups disagree, Bitcoin splits. Nobody wins by force. But when Bitcoin started, it was very difficult to secure your Bitcoin, and it's estimated that 20% of the Bitcoin in circulation are lost forever, because at the beginning there were no seed phrases. Early Bitcoin wallets were rough. You basically had raw private keys. If you lost your private keys, you lost access to your money. Then one day, a wallet standard emerged, BIP39. This is the seed phrase system. A seed phrase is a human-friendly backup of your wallet. It uses a fixed list of 2048 words. Your wallet randomly picks 12 or 24 words out of that list. Your words represents underlying random data plus a checksum, and there is no chance for somebody to randomly guess them. And from that, your wallet derives all your keys. That's why, if you lose your phone, you can restore your wallet. If somebody steals your seed, they steal your money. And if you self-custody properly, no one can steal your funds. The reason why decentralized and self-custody matters is that we had plenty of proofs of centralized authority overreaching, from exchanges going down with your assets to draconian governments freezing the accounts of their citizens. Canada was a great example in this. Or the Norwegian and other Scandinavian governments publishing the list of people with names and surnames and their Bitcoin or crypto assets, which needless to say resulted in accidents. So make sure you make self-custody and privacy a priority. People do not understand how deep the roots of Bitcoin go. They see 100k today and they see another asset that criminals use to recycle money, politicians to be even more corrupted, and rich people to get even richer. A tulips ball bubble, like in Netherlands in 1600, but it's not. It's not any of this. And if it was, fiat money are used for exactly the same purpose and even worse. We are in a situation now where banks are feeling finally threatened by Bitcoin because it's a better alternative, and people will start independently manage their own money with nobody even able to seize them. Bitcoin is freedom. Freedom nobody can steal from you. Bitcoin is everything people do not understand about money and everything people do not understand about computers. It forces you to challenge everything you knew about everything. And the solution is always the same. Study it for 1,000 hours. Let me show you how deep its roots go. The 18th of August 2008, the domain bitcoin.org is registered anonymously before Bitcoin even launches. The 31st of October 2008, Satoshi posts Bitcoin white paper to the cryptography mailing list. The 3rd of January 2009, Satoshi mines the Genesis block and the Bitcoin network is born. The 9th of January 2009, the first public Bitcoin client is released as open source software. The 12th of January, the first Bitcoin transaction. Satoshi sends 10 Bitcoin to Hal Finney. The 5th of October 2009, the new Liberty Standard publishes one of the first widely cited BTC to USD valuations, $1 for 1,309.03 Bitcoin, considering the cost of electricity that very day. This was the price discovery moment. The 22nd of November 2009, Satoshi posts "Welcome to the new Bitcoin forum." The 24th of February 2010, Satoshi shares the symbol of Bitcoin as we know it today. The first one to suggest this symbol was New Liberty Standard with the Thai baht in mind. The 17th of March 2010, Bitcoin market goes live. An early attempt to sell 10,000 Bitcoin for $50 appears, and is known that nobody bought on that because people did not understand Bitcoin. The 22nd of May 2010, this is my favorite, Bitcoin Pizza Day. Laszlo Aniek trades 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas from Papa John's, and it's the first time where Bitcoin is not used as code anymore, but as money. In March 2011, Bitcoin breaks through the $1 mark. Around the 8th of February 2011, Silk Road opens, and Bitcoin becomes the payment method for an uncensorable market. The world learns that Bitcoin is not just nerds' money, it is unstoppable money. On Silk Road you could have bought anything, from drugs to weapons to assassins. The 20th of November 2012, the first halving. Block reward drops from 50 to 25 Bitcoin. The 2nd of April 2013, Bitcoin crosses $100. And one of the reasons why Bitcoin starts getting mainstream is because of what happened in Cyprus on those years, where people could not access their money. And the news goes around the world and people realize that their money don't belong to them, but to the banks. So they start Googling for alternative and they find Bitcoin. And that's when the price starts really going up, because people are getting more aware of an alternative solution to banks. In April 2013, there is a Porsche sale from a son and a father in Austin, Texas, where they sold their 2007 Porsche Cayenne S for roughly 300 Bitcoin, which shows that you can buy much more than a pizza with them. 2013 is also the year where hard drive loss becomes legend. In Newport, Wales, James Owens throws away a hard drive with roughly 7,500 bitcoins on it. That story becomes the eternal self-custody lesson. Not your keys, not your cheese. This guy will spend roughly 10 years searching for this hard drive, eventually giving up last year. So make sure you secure your seed phrases. On the 7th of February 2014, Mount GOX collapses. Withdrawal stops. Hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin are lost forever. 850,000 to be precise. But it wasn't Bitcoin that failed, self-custody did. On the 4th of February 2014, Ross Ulbricht, the CEO of Silk Road, is convicted. And this is a horrible story. Because the 29th of May 2015, is sentenced to 2 life sentences plus 40 years. The 17th of June 2015, on $1 million list in New York, there is an offer for 50,000 Bitcoin for a luxury property and is rejected. The 9th of July 2016, the second halving. Reward drops to 12.5 Bitcoin. The 1st of August 2017, the Bitcoin cash fork. A group of people wanted something different for Bitcoin and instead of stopping, it forks. The 24th of August 2017, SegWit activates. This is a major upgrade that improves transaction structure and helps unlock Lightning, which is a layer 2 built on Bitcoin for super fast payments. I'm talking seconds here. The 11th of October 2017, the Bitcoin family goes all in. Didi Taihutu shares publicly that he sold his house and his assets to buy all the Bitcoin he can, around 120 of them, and he starts living with his family in a van traveling around. And to this day, he still holds them. That very day, Bitcoin became a symbol of extreme conviction. The 20th of December 2017, a developer in San Francisco lists his home for 30 million or Bitcoin. The 15th of March 2018, Bitcoin gets Lightning, a second layer for fast transaction. The 11th of May 2020, the third halving. The reward drops to 6.25 Bitcoin. The 9th of June 2021, El Salvador passes the Bitcoin law. The 7th of September 2021, Bitcoin becomes legal tender. A nation state runs the experiment in public, with everybody looking. By the way, today in El Salvador there is a law for which if you pay $1 million, they grant you citizenship for you and all your family. It's a bit expensive, sure, but imagine you can start a new life just by paying with Bitcoin. The 14th of November 2021, Taproot activates. It's a Bitcoin upgrades that make complex transactions look like simple ones, improving privacy, lowering fees, enabling more powerful smart contracts. The 7th to 12th of May 2022, Terra USD collapses. It was marketed as a stable coin, but it depegged and everything started spiraling down, destroying tens of billions in value. The creator starts running away, is eventually caught by police, and the first week of the collapse, there are 8 confirmed suicides. Centrally designed systems with fake stability and too much authority eventually fail, but this event with FTX following after is what marks the bull run starting. Bitcoin reached $69,000 and then it dropped to 16,000. The 11th of November 2022, FTX files for bankruptcy. I get it. FTX looked like legitimacy, celebrity endorsement, political assets, massive marketing, and then it just imploded. There were many people chanting back then, Bitcoin failed, Bitcoin is dead. But Bitcoin didn't fail, custodians did. The 20th of January 2023, Ordinals begin, thanks to Casey Rodarmor. Ordinals introduced a way to inscribe data into Bitcoin thanks to the new transactions capabilities. As you can imagine, it sparked a civil war of opinions. Some see it as spam, some see it as freedom. There is one project that I found called Project Spartacus, where whistleblower files and information were inscribed into Bitcoin, so nobody could have deleted them anymore. But either way, it proved something. Bitcoin is not controlled by taste, it's controlled by rules and fees. And people will use it for whatever the market demands. The 10th of January 2024, spot ETFs are approved in the US. And this is a major bridge for institutional exposure. The 19th and 20th of April 2024, the fourth halving. And the reward drops to 3.125 Bitcoin. The 21st of January 2025, Ross Ulbricht is pardoned by Donald Trump after 10 years in prison. In March 2025, the US Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is announced. And regarding this, there is a massive book that I want to advise you on reading. It's called SOFWAR from Major Jason P. Lowery. And it basically talks about the potential technology used for Bitcoin. And when countries, based on his theory, will understand the potential that Bitcoin represents as a shift from kinetic war, which is hardware, to energy imposing war, which is software, all the states will start accumulating Bitcoin just in case that other states start doing the same. And this is a map from 2025 of how many Bitcoins these nations own. There is a lot of controversy about this book and a lot of people complaining, but this theory is being proven right so far. The 18th of July 2025, the Genius Act is signed, a stablecoin framework, not Bitcoin only, but it shapes the broader digital asset settlement world around it. In the meantime, and I'm talking about the last 5 years, major states started accumulating and mining Bitcoin around the world, with Bhutan connected to hydroelectric power connected to machines to mine more than 12,000 Bitcoin that eventually they used, not sold, to build a new national airport. If you remember just one thing from this video, remember this. Bitcoin isn't a company or a bank you trust. It's a set of rules that you can verify. That's why the famous statement, don't trust, verify. And that's why it survives every crash, every scandal, every headline. It has been considered dead more than 400 times. They tried to hack it so many times over the year, never succeeded. And it proved most of the people that didn't see its value wrong. Now people are talking about quantum computing. Sure, but if quantum computing strikes, Bitcoin is the last thing you should be concerned of. Your bank account, not as strong as Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't ask you to believe in people. It asks you to understand the system. And when you study what the alternative has been for more than 100 years, you understand that Bitcoin is inevitable. And either you will wait for the water to boil or not, it will keep growing stronger. The price of ignorance is more expensive than the price it would have cost you to acquire knowledge in the first place. When BitcoinTalk.org started, it was a very tiny percentage of people talking about Bitcoin and trading it. Today there are exchanges everywhere. From Coinbase, that started in 2012 and still stands, to Binance, Gemini, Kraken, and other simple platforms like Rely or HODL, where you can directly buy from other peers, like at the very beginning. And if you really want to talk about Bitcoin face to face with people, today there are Bitcoin Spritz, which are events happening all over the world, where you can meet people, have a drink, have some food, and talk everything Bitcoin with them. There are events happening all over the world, like the B Forum in Lugano, 3 days event where you can connect with other like-minded people, meet CEOs, public speakers, and people like Adam Beck, Saifdin Ammous, Michael Saylor, and they are all over the world. You just have to find yours and go there. But the real worth in these events is not the things you hear, the things you learn, but the connections you form with other like-minded people. For these reasons, before I go to these events, I always bring with me my business cards so I can connect with as many people as possible. If you are brand new to this and you want a done-with-you service, I can help you with the following. Choose the right wallet, set up secure self-custody properly, teach you backups, seed phrases, and threat models in plain English. And if you want, even help you set up a home miner or a node, so you can understand and participate to Bitcoin from the inside out. If that's you, click the link in the description and book a call. And if you like this video, I made a video to show you exactly how the price of Bitcoin evolved through the years without people noticing, because they were too distracted with entertainment. This will serve you extremely well to not do the same mistakes ever again.